Shabbat Shalom, my friends. Thank you so very much for continuing with me and with us week after week and now year after year in these Torah conversations. It has been bleak and extremely dreary here in sunny California, but there is always light and warmth in the study of sacred texts with a group of friends. So let's get started. First of all, a special shout out today to the Women of the Wall. On Friday morning, March 8th, Women of the Wall will be celebrating their 30th anniversary. The date is auspicious. Friday is, in fact, Rosh Chodesh Adar 2, new month, Adar 2, the month in which we're going to find many celebrations. Women of the Wall is expecting a very large group of women and men from around the world to be present at the Kotel for worship. The ultra-Orthodox in Israel have issued a countrywide public appeal for massive numbers of Haredi women to come early to the Kotel, the area designated for women only, and to so fill the space that the Women of the Wall simply won't have room to be there. They'll be driven away. This Friday, I pray for civility and safety. I pray for calm, and I pray for the full equality of women and men at the Kotel, one of the most powerful symbols of Jewish survival. And a special shout out to us for today. We finish our study of the book of Exodus for the year. The Sedra, the last one in the book of Exodus, is Pekudei, the accounts, Exodus 38:21 and following. So make certain that after you finish listening to this conversation, that you manage to arrange for yourself a little bit of a Siyyum, a celebration. Can't have Torah without food. The Sedra is very short, but its message is really rich with meaning. But Saliel has now completed his task of making all of the sacred implements of the tabernacle, all of the elements for the construction of the tabernacle itself. Everything was made, but in fact, my friends, nothing really existed. There was potential everywhere. All these items, instruments, everything was made, but not being assembled, they were ultimately meaningless. What would happen, God forbid, if you dumped a 1,500-piece Ravensburger jigsaw puzzle out on the floor, and then you lost the cover picture of what the completed puzzle should look like? What a massive headache that would be. Only Moses had the vision of the completed structure, a vision that was vouchsafed to him by God. So it fell to Moses to actually guide the assembly of all of those separate pieces into a magnificent whole. The tabernacle, when it was finished, would contain the Aron, the sacred ark, within which the 2 tablets of stone would be kept, along with the broken fragments of the first set of tablets. There was a laver, this kind of big basin, and special shelving for the showbread, altars for incense, and altars for animal and meal sacrifices. And the lavish garments of the Kohanim, and especially the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, were ready to be consecrated and then put into use. Rabbi Noah Kushner, in an essay included within the Women's Torah commentary published by the URJ, raises some fascinating questions and insights. The Israelites had panicked because Moses had spent too much time atop Mount Sinai, so they built a golden calf and participated in what we can gently call a sacred orgy. They wanted and needed a physical representation of the being that they were to worship. And a calf, as a deity, was familiar to them from Egypt. It worked for them. But in response, God was totally furious, and Moses was totally furious. So it's obvious that the Mishkan should be empty of all physical representations of God, right? This physical representation, the calf, wrong. So you build the tabernacle, there should be nothing physical within it. We will not repeat the mistake of the golden calf. But Kushner points out, it wasn't empty. Our text states, Uchvod Adonai maleh hamishkan. The presence or the glory of the eternal filled the tabernacle, filled it. And more, for an anan Adonai, a cloud of the eternal, rested over the tabernacle by day, and fire would appear in the cloud at night. So why was this so very different from the golden calf? Why was there any physical representation at all of the presence of the eternal in the Mishkan? Shouldn't it have been empty, totally empty? And after all, the same gold that was used for the building of the Mishkan was used in the construction of the golden calf, yet one was an abomination, the other was not. So must be missing something here. Listen to Kushner's words. Perhaps these manifestations, the clouds, exist precisely in order to teach the Israelites that an experience of God can exist within the visual and tangible realms. That is, the problem with worshiping the golden calf was not that the calf could be seen. It was that the golden calf was worshipped as if it contained God entirely, as if God were nowhere else. Here, the Israelites were to learn that an encounter with God does not have to be so absolutely abstract, so removed from their sensory experience that they are left without any means of comprehending or describing it. In other words, here Kushner ends, the divine experience can include things seen. The divine experience can include things seen. That seems massively counterintuitive. It almost seems un-Jewish. We Jews worship a God that cannot be seen, a God absolutely without physical shape, a God that cannot be touched or fed or attracted by sweet-smelling spices. Following the dire warnings of the Ten Commandments, you shall not make for yourself any idol, nor bow down to it, nor worship it. We have tried to move as far away as possible from anything that ascribes physicality to God. But Kushner insists that, quote, an experience of God can exist within the visual and tangible realms. I think maybe this is what she means. We don't need, nor should we ever seek, physical representations of God. But God is physically present in much of what we consider to be the ordinary and the commonplace. A cloud is a cloud is a cloud, even when it contains fire within it. But if we see that cloud with our souls and not just with our eyes, it might very well be that God is manifest there, manifest in the most ordinary of places and in the most ordinary of times. What Kushner is saying is that it's okay to look for the presence of God in our world. Think about that. It's okay to look for the physical presence of God in our world. It's okay to seek for God with our eyes, physical eyes, spiritual eyes. That's not idolatry, not at all. I'm afraid that somehow we may have become so inured against seeking opportunities to see God that we almost willfully blind ourselves to that which has always existed right in front of us. What if we allow ourselves the freedom to attempt to see God in clouds and pillars? And what if we regain the willingness that our ancestors possessed, that when they encountered occasions of overwhelming beauty or of terrifying power, they allowed themselves to see the presence of God there, and therefore they created blessings to acknowledge that in that rainbow, in that expression of love, in that physical beauty in a meadow, there is the presence of God. There is so little to lose if we make the effort. If we just commit ourselves, if we allow ourselves to see more clearly. And what if, just what if, as we make this effort, we actually do see that which we have really never seen before? This is how Krishna concludes. If we open our eyes to see God in the ordinary and in the commonplace, we will never see the same way again, for we ourselves will have been changed. It's beautiful. We will never see the same way again, for we ourselves will be changed. Well, that's it for today. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Let us be strong, let us be strong, let us strengthen one another at the end of our book. And next week, on to the book of Leviticus. And right now it's Siyyum time. But before you hoist a cup, please hit share so that others might come along to join our journey and find warmth in the study of Torah. Shabbat Shalom.